Hi Digital Makers, Christina here from the Raspberry Pi Foundation team. Thank you for joining us this week for our theme of Care for Yourself. So this week I'm going to be using Scratch to create a chatbot, and I actually got a little creative with it. I started with our project and then I took it to a whole new level, and I'm excited to show you what I did. So let's get coding. All right, so we are at projects.raspberrypi.org. As always, you can check out projects here. We're going to be doing a Scratch project. So if you love Scratch and you want to try other projects, feel free to head to the project site, sort by Scratch, and it's going to show you all of our awesome Scratch projects. The chatbot project is here. If you scroll down to the fourth row, we can also use a link, rpf.io/dm-chatbot. So I want us to just check out, we're going to code soon, I promise. I just want us to check out the base project because I want you to see what we're going to make and to give you an idea of how you can change it. So here, this is what we are going to start with. So when we click on this little guy here, it's a chatbot. It's going to talk to us. Hi, what's your name? Hello, I'm Christina. He says hi back, asks some questions. And I want to show you actually, I took the knowledge that I learned here and created this chatbot, which I named Sam for social and emotional. This is my social and emotional chatbot, Sam. And so similarly, I used some of the same code that I learned in that starter project. I click on Sam. Sam says hi. Sam asks me my name. And then Sam actually asks me how I'm doing. Then the thing that I changed, and I'll show you how to do this, is Sam will ask a little bit more. Tell me what I'm doing. Okay, it's sunny outside. I love the sun. And then what I added in here is that Sam is going to give me suggestions for activities. Sam is asking if I want to see the activities. Yes, I do. So what I created with Sam as a social and emotional chatbot was having options where I could pick a emotion that I'm feeling and get suggestions for activities. So I personalize this so that when I'm feeling happy, this gives me suggestions for actions I want to take. If I'm feeling sad, if I'm feeling angry. So for example, I'm going to click on happy and I get this information here. So I'm going to show you how you can make your own Sam. You can name it whatever you want. And how you can put in different suggestions. So when you're feeling different emotions, you can go to your chatbot and remind yourself of activities that might help you when you're feeling a certain emotion. So let's head back to our chatbot, to our starter project. And like I mentioned, actually I don't know if I mentioned yet, but what you will need is we're going to need a computer that can use Scratch 3. What we're going to be learning is we're going to use code to concatenate strings in Scratch. We're going to learn about variables to store user input and conditional selection. If you don't know what this means, don't worry. I'll point it out during the video. And it's helpful to know this because this is vocabulary and language that if you're interested in coding, becoming a more advanced coder, this is great language to learn because this language will apply as you learn different languages. Or this vocabulary will apply as you learn different coding languages. So let's go ahead. We're now in your chatbot, the second section. I love this project is it provides guiding questions. So if you want to think about your chatbot's name, where does it live, just to help you think creatively about where you want to go with your chatbot. So as you can imagine, when I was thinking about these questions, I was thinking, okay, I want my chatbot to be helpful. I want my chatbot to really focus on helping me to navigate emotions I might be feeling. So let's jump in now and do some coding. So here, I'm going to start with the starter project. So rpf.io chatbot-on, and that's the starter project. And this just has a couple of sprites already in there. So let's head in. And like I said, my project looked different than this project, and that is okay. So remember, I picked some different sprites. Scratch is taking a little bit longer to load. That's okay. It's Scratch month, so probably a lot of people might be on Scratch. Here we are. All right. So you'll see here we have 4 sprites already loaded. We've got a backdrop, but really that's it. So you can start with a blank Scratch project if you want, or you can pick one of these. And if you don't know, I'm just going to give you a quick intro to Scratch. We are using blocks to code. So here are the blocks. We're going to be dragging them So we can go ahead, just to give you an idea. What we can do is, right now I'm going to code for Nano, which is this sprite here. So when I click on Nano, the sprite, we're going to have Nano say hello. So I've just dragged 2 blocks over. I've made sure they're connected. I'm also going to zoom in so it's easier for you to see. So now when I click on Nano, Nano says hello. So that is what we're going to be. We're doing a lot of coding. But just in case this is your intro to Scratch. So let's go ahead and pick a sprite. I'm going to give you a couple of seconds. Feel free to pause this video. Go ahead and check out the sprites here. Choose a sprite and then come on back with your sprite that you've picked. All right, I'm back. Are you back? Did you pick a sprite? I went ahead and picked Gobo. I think Gobo is really adorable. So I went ahead and picked Gobo. I actually got rid of the other sprites. And so to do that, you'll see here when this sprite is highlighted, there's a trash can. So I went ahead and did that for all the sprites. Now you can also personalize your backdrop. So here we have the backdrop here of that's space with really cool Saturn. If you want to change the backdrop, you can also do that here by clicking on backdrops. So go ahead and pause this. Feel free to check out the backdrops and pick one that you really like. All right, so you should have a sprite and a backdrop. I just went with a plain blue backdrop. And I hope you found a backdrop and a sprite that you are excited about. And remember, you can always upload a sprite image or you can upload a backdrop image. So let's code our sprite to be a chatbot. So we need an events block. And I'm going to choose the third one when the sprite is clicked. And we want to start by having our chatbot say hello. So I'm going to have our chatbot say hello. I'm just going to personalize this a little bit and have the chatbot say, hi friend. And then the next thing we do is we want to start a conversation. So I'm going to have the chatbot ask me my name. And I can't use a purple block. I need a different block because I want it actually to give me the opportunity to type in my name. So I need a sensing block. And here the 5th block is the ask what's your name and wait. So now when I click on my sprite, it's going to say hi friend. Then it's going to ask me our name. Great. So a box shows up where I can input my name. So the next thing we want is we want the computer to do something with our name. We want the input. So we have to first create a variable for our name. So go to variables, which is the orange blocks, second from the bottom, and we're going to make a variable. So we click on that first button, make a variable, and type in name. And great, now so we've got the variable name. And you'll see it shows up here in the stage. That's if you're ever using variables for numbers like games or tracking points. Since we're not using that, I'm going to unclick this blue check mark so it doesn't show up on the stage. So we've got name. So I'm going to take this first block and drag it over here. And we're going to use this block to have our answer register as the variable name. So we're going to set name to answer. So I need to go back to sensing blocks. And right under the block we just used, we're going to pull in answer. So we're going to have it say, so we're now, what's your name? We've got the name. Now I want the chatbot to say hi to my name. I want it to display my name. So I'm going to go to looks. I'm going to have the chatbot say hello, but I'm going to change what is in here by using an operators block. I'm going to specifically get the join block. So this is where that, where we had talked about earlier when we're going to concatenate strings in Scratch. This is that part. We're now going to combine, we're going to join two things. We're going to join things. So we're going to join our variable and we're going to join a phrase. So I'm going to put in here hello, and then I'm going to put in the answer block. And then I'm going to put this block into my purple block. There we go. So now when we click on our sprite, the sprite's going to say, hi friend, what's your name? Christina. Hello, Christina. Great. It said my name. Now you notice the words were together. There wasn't a space in between. So you just have to, the trick there is just go to your original, the first part of the phrase, and put in a space. And that will then separate the two words. All right, let's double check it again. Great, okay. So we've got our sprite saying hello. We've just been able to take the input, the answer, and to have our sprite say our name back, which is great. Remember, for our theme this week of care for yourself, I want to have this bot check in on how I'm doing. So I'm going to have the bot ask me how I'm feeling today. So I'm going to pull in our sensing block again. How are you feeling today? And then what should happen is we're going to see a box and we can type in how we're feeling. So this is an opportunity for you to feel free to think about the way you want your chatbot to interact, right? It can be really fun to think ahead of what things people might say or how they might react. And what's neat is to try to make it as much of a human interaction as possible, which can be really interesting. So next we're going to have our chatbot ask how we're feeling. And then remember, with this chatbot, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have the chatbot display different emotions so that I can choose from. So I'm going to ask, this is the next piece here, I'm going to actually ask the user. So the chatbot asks me if I want to see the activities. So to do that, I'm going to go ahead and go to looks. And I'm going to choose this block here and type in. So the assumption now is that someone has shared how they're feeling. So I'm going to say, thanks for sharing. I have some ideas for activities you can do. And then we're going to choose a sensing block. And I'm going to say, would you like to see them? So let's see what our chatbot says here. Hi friend, what's your name? Christina. Hello Christina, how are you feeling today? Okay, thanks for sharing. I have some ideas for activities. Would you like to see them? And so now we're gonna have our chatbot register one of our answers. And so this is one of the objectives I mentioned earlier, the conditional inputs. So in this case, or conditional like selection to respond to user input. So in this case, we could have the individual, you can say yes or you could say no. And we're going to set it up where the chatbot will do one thing or the other based on what your response is. So we're going to choose a control block and we're going to do the if then else block. So the first thing we're going to have is if the answer is yes. So to do that, we're going to need an operator block, and we are going to do this one here. And we're going to need our answer block. So if the answer equals yes, we're going to have that be up here at the top. And then we're going to put code in here for the chatbot to do something if someone types in yes. Now, if they type in anything else except yes, so maybe if they type in no, we can set up the code right now for that. So we're just going to say here, okay, thanks for chatting with me today. Okay, so here right now, if I type in no, that's what should show up because it's not yes, right? So great, exactly, great. So that works. So now we need to set up what happens if we say yes. So if we say yes, what we're going to do is we want to show the buttons for the emotions. So let's go ahead and add in those buttons. We're going to add in a sprite. So down here in the bottom right, it's probably like right under my the video of me. All right, so let's go ahead and put in button to get a button sprite. Now don't worry, the code didn't disappear. Our code is with our original sprite, so it's still there. We just have a new sprite up. So let's go ahead and we're gonna change the sprite so it has a button that actually has an emotion name on it. So you can go to the costume tab, which is here in the top left. We've been using just the code tab, but we can go to the costume tab. So right now this is a blue button. I like the orange one, so I'm gonna use the orange one. You can change the colors and change the shape even. Next thing you wanna do is you wanna add text. So I'm gonna add text. I'm just gonna have this button be the happy button. And I'm just gonna show you right now how to add in one button, and then I'll show you how to add in multiple buttons. All right, so we've got our happy button. And let's go ahead back to Gobo. So if the answer is yes, there's two things that we're going to want to happen. First, we're going to now use the broadcast block. Oop, that's in events. So we use the broadcast block. So if someone clicks yes, what I'm going to do is I'm going to broadcast this message. It's basically an internal message to the computer. So I'm going to have this message be show emotion buttons. So this is telling the computer that we want to show the emotion buttons. And then I'm also going to display a message that is going to say, okay. Click on the emotion that best fits how you are feeling to display some activities. All right, so we go here. And now right now our button is still showing. So what I want to do is actually want to hide that button first. So let's go to the button and put in the code. And so we're going to have a couple blocks of code in here. First, we're just going to have it hide to start. So I'm going to have when the green flag is clicked, this button is going to be hidden. Okay, so the green flag is clicked, button is gone. Now you'll understand why I had that broadcast message. So when we're talking to our chatbot, when we get to the point, would you like to see them, and you type in yes, we're going to broadcast show emotion button. So that's going to be the signal for our button to now display on the stage. So now I can go to the events and I can say when I receive the message. So for this sprite, when this sprite receives this message, and this is the only broadcast message we have, so show emotion buttons, excuse me, we're now going to have it show. All right, so let's see if this works now. So hi friend, what's your name? Great, Christina. Hello, Christina. How are you feeling today? Feeling okay. Thanks for sharing. I have some ideas for activities you can do. Would you like to see them? Also, that was kind of short, so I'm going to make that a little bit longer here for folks to read. 4. Then would you like to see them? And I'm going to type in yes. So now what it should do, it should broadcast. We should now see the buttons. Yes. Okay. So click on the motion that best fits how you are feeling, and your best how you are feeling to display some activities. Just going to fix the grammar error there. Okay, awesome. Now something I'm going to do just to help move this along a little bit faster. We know this top half of the code works, so I'm just going to move it to the side. And I'm just going to start here with this code. And this is just for the sake of not having to go through. This is like a little shortcut that I use. So just so I don't have to go through all of this code here, I'm going to just shorten this so I'm only on this piece. So when I click here, it'll just go straight to the question so we can test out this code. All right. So now we also know if I click the green flag, awesome, it disappears. So something now we're going to do is when we click, we want to actually set it up so that if we click this sprite, so once the sprite is displayed, when we click it, we have activities to see, like when we have, and we're going to use the same code for all of our buttons. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a new backdrop. So we're going to go to backdrop, and when you hover over backdrop, let me move my window so you can see this. Oops. No, I want me. There we go. Okay. So when you click on the backdrop or hover over backdrop, you're going to see a couple options. I'm going to go ahead and click on paint. And so we're going to make a new backdrop here. And so this backdrop, you can pick any background. I'm just going to go ahead, I'm going to fill this in instead of black. Let's go ahead. I'm going to make this have like a teal color. I think that, or actually, let's do yellow. Ooh, that's an interesting yellow. Okay, great. We'll do that one. Okay, so now that we have our background, you know what? Actually, I'm going to actually change it. I like the green color. There we go. Okay. So now that we have our backdrop, I'm going to put some text in it. So we're thinking through when we click a button, we want the activities for that emotion to be displayed. So this is going to be the happy, this backdrop. And oops, I also want to change the color of the text there so it's easy to see. Okay, great. And then, so this is the backdrop that I wanted to show up. So when someone clicks the button happy, we're now going to have this backdrop show up and it's going to show a couple of activities. So dance are some activities I like to do when I'm happy. Call a friend, make a gift for someone. So these are something when I'm feeling happy, I want to share that happiness with folks. So these are activities that if I'm feeling that emotion, I might want to do. So this is going to be the backdrop that we're going to want to show up. So now that we have this backdrop, we have the name of it is happy. What we can do, go to now is go back to our button and go to the code for our button. And so now we can set it up so that if this button is clicked, so when the sprite is clicked, we are going to switch our backdrop. So we're going to go to the purple blocks and we're going to switch backdrop to happy. Okay, great. Now, something we want to set up so that our program like resets. So something we also want to do is that when, let's go to Gobo, because right now we have this backdrop just sort of stuck there. We can go to events and we've kind of set it up so that the green flag is kind of that reset. So we had the green flag, that would make all the buttons disappear. So when the green flag is clicked, we're also going to have it that's going to show backdrop 1. So that sort of sets up everything to be fresh. So I think that was Blue Sky was the one that I had. Ooh, was that right? Yes, okay. Okay, so now we've clicked it. So if I click on the sprite, would you like to see them? Yes, remember we're just skipping ahead from the code because I removed that section. So we click yes. All right. Okay, click on the emotion that best fits how you are feeling. So right now we just have one button. So we're just gonna click happy. Great. So right now the issue is that this text is covering up our activity. So let's go ahead and I'm going to change this to be only for a certain amount of time. So I'm going to change it to this block here. So I'm going to have it only show for a certain amount of time. So I'm going to take out and remove that block. I'm going to have this be 3 seconds. And I'm actually going to put the broadcast underneath this one. So it'll show the message and then it's going to show the buttons after. Okay, so then let's reset so we can click the green flag. This switches our backdrop to blue. It hides the buttons. Now we can click on our chatbot. Okay, would you like to see them? Yes. Okay, click on the motion that best fits how you're feeling, display some activities. Great, and now our buttons show up. And now, moment of truth, we should click on the button and it shows our activities. Okay, yes, all right. So with time we have left, what I'll do is I'll show you really quick how to do another button, another backdrop. And so I started with one because what it does is it sets you up so that you can just copy them. So first, let's go ahead. We click on our button. And what's great is if I copy this sprite, it'll copy the code with it. So I'm going to go ahead and right click and duplicate this sprite. So now I've got the same sprite. So I've got another happy button. And I can now change this button. So let's determine what emotion we can do. So sometimes I feel sad, especially when I'm home, when I miss my friends and family. So let's go to the costume tab. And so I'm going to change this button to sad. All right. I'm also going to name this button sad, so it's just easier to navigate. So this is the sad button. So it's displaying, great. Now we know when the green flag is clicked for this button, we want it to hide. When we receive show emotion buttons, we also want it to show. And when this sprite is clicked, we're going to change, we want to actually make a new backdrop. So let's go ahead to our backdrops, and let's make a new one. And what we can do here too, since we already have the format here, I can just duplicate this backdrop and change this to sad. And I'm going to change this to activities that help me when I'm feeling sad. And that's the purpose of this chatbot, right? Is as a social emotional check-in, so that if I'm not feeling well or I am feeling well, it'll just help me navigate activities that'll support those emotions. So for me, when I feel sad, and I think it's also important to make this chatbot when you're in a neutral space so that you can really think objectively around what's going to best support you. So when I'm feeling sad, I know that writing in my journal is really helpful. I know sometimes talking to a friend or maybe like taking some alone time. And that's different for everyone. I know for me, when I'm sad, it's nice to just like take a break and to be alone. I know that for some of my friends, when they're sad, they need to be with people. So reminding yourself of that to help support you in whichever emotion that you have. So now we've got our new backdrop. So let's go to our sad button and let's go to the code. So now when this sprite is clicked, we should display the sad backdrop. Oh wait, I need to name it. Let's go back to our backdrops. What was it? Oh, it just said happy too. We're gonna make this one sad so that's easier. And it's helpful to name them, right? So it's easier to know which ones to go to. So let's go to this one. And we are going to, what did I just say we were gonna do? Oh yeah, with the code. We're gonna change this to sad. Okay, so now let's run our code. So here we go, back to our chatbot, and let's run the whole thing. I'm excited to see it. Okay, so I'm gonna move this up here. Let's get the rest of my code down here. Okay, let's run the whole thing and see how it goes. All right, hi friend. What's your name? Christina. Hello, Christina. How are you feeling today? I'm feeling okay. Thanks for sharing. I have some ideas for activities you can do. Would you like to see them? Yes. Okay, click on the emotion that best fits how you are feeling to display some activities. Okay, so we know that happy works. Let's see if sad works. Yes! This is great. We made our chatbot. So now we can click on the green flag and everything should clear. You can redo it and you can use it. You can use it at another time. So now you know that you can go ahead, you can duplicate your buttons, you can duplicate your backdrops and create more buttons so that you have more options. So you can really identify which emotions that you're feeling that day and help support yourself. So thanks so much for joining me on this adventure of creating our social and emotional chatbot. I hope it's helpful for you. As always, we'd love to see what you create. I'd love to see how you personalize this chatbot. So make sure to share with us. Check out the link rpf.io/home. You can go there and you can share your project with us. And we'd love to see it. And we'd also love to share it with others. So if you share with us, we can feature it in our next blog. And we can make sure to let others know what awesome chatbots that you're creating. And also, if you have any questions, also go to rpf.io/home. You can send us some feedback or you can tell us how you're doing. So thanks so much for joining me, and I hope you have a great week.